Should you pick a Philips Sonicare or Oral-B electric toothbrush? It's a question many people have, and in this video I'm going to explain some of the key differences and help you make that decision. Hi, I'm John from electricteeth. We assist you in selecting the right dental care products for you and understanding common dental care topics. I've used many electric toothbrushes over the years, including those from Oral-B and Philips Sonicare, as well as many other brands. And in this video, I'm going to help you decide which brand is right for you. So let me get straight to the verdict and help you understand which brand you should be picking. Choosing between Sonicare and Oral-B can be very difficult. There are pros and cons to either. Where one might be more cost effective, the other may have a more appealing feature. Only in certain circumstances will one stand out as the clear winner. There may well be evidence that suggests Oral-B cleans the teeth better, but that only applies if you're using the toothbrush correctly. Ultimately, both companies produce a number of really good products. My recommendation is worry less about the brand and worry more about how and when you use the toothbrush. Perfecting your brushing routine will deliver more positive results to your oral health than selecting one particular brand over another. So, as I've just summarised, it's more important to just pick a brush and use it than to worry too much about which particular electric toothbrush you use. But I do have some key recommendations of brushes you should opt for depending on where you live. If you live in the USA, I recommend you check out the Oral-B Smart 1500 and the Philips Sonicare Protective Clean 4100. If you live in Canada, I recommend you check out the Sonicare Protective Clean 4100 and the Oral-B Pro 2000. And if you live in the UK or Europe, select the Oral-B Pro 2500 or the Sonicare Protective Clean 4300. Those are my top recommendations of brushes from either brand based on your region. Now, those recommendations can potentially change from one specific country to another, and models can change in time. But what I'm ultimately saying is pick one of the better value option brushes from either of those companies, because most of the time that's going to do everything you need to help you achieve better oral health. Then focus on correcting or perfecting your brushing technique, the amount of time that you brush for, and your routine around your oral health, and you will see many positive benefits. So with that covered, I'm now going to look at each brand in a bit more detail. Now, what we need to be aware of here is we are comparing brands. Both brands make a number of different electric toothbrushes, and you can compare those individual brushes with each other as you can compare these particular brands. So there are definitely some sweeping generalizations I'm going to have to make in the comparison here because we're not focusing on particular brushes. Now, of course, there's going to be some element of personal opinion that comes in here, and there are arguments for and against both brands for all of the categories that I'm going to cover in this video. But what I've tried to do is pick out the key categories that might be most important to you and give you what I consider to be my recommendation of brand for that specific thing. So if you're specifically looking for a quiet toothbrush, I'll recommend which brand to go for. If you're specifically looking for a toothbrush that will work well for families, then I'll recommend whether you should go for Oral-B or Sonicare. So let me go through that list and give a little bit of context to each one as to why. So which has the best brushing technology? Well, that goes to Oral-B. Now, whilst both toothbrushes will clean your teeth really well if the brush is used correctly, Oral-B tends to come out on top in most of the clinical data. Now, it is clear that more study is needed to actually determine which is better, but most studies do side with Oral-B in being the better option thanks to its small oscillating, rotating and pulsating brush head. I personally do prefer the cleaning action of Oral-B. It feels slightly more intense and thorough after use, and that might be a sensation that you don't particularly like the sound of. To me, the Sonicare is a little bit more gentle. It certainly leaves my teeth feeling lovely and clean, but I don't feel it's quite as intense as Oral-B. But I've got no reason to doubt the cleaning capabilities of either of these brands of brushes. Which has the best design? Well, for me, that is Philips Sonicare. Of course, this is open to debate, and more recent models from Oral-B, including the IO, have significantly improved the design. But for a longer time now, in my opinion, the design of Philips Sonicare toothbrushes has been premium. Now, I will argue that the likes of Oral-B brushes had more grips on their handle and things like that, so they're perhaps slightly more comfortable to hold, but Sonicare brushes, in my mind, have looked the classier, the more premium, the more desirable product to own. They often feel a little bit better. The build quality and the way the handle has been designed is often better. You know, simple things in terms of the design of having a dedicated cleaning mode button, that's more commonplace on Sonicare toothbrushes than it is Oral-B, and I think that's a really useful addition. Which has the most features? Well, this is a bit of a closely fought one, but I think that goes to Sonicare. They tend to have more features, particularly on the top of the line brushes, in terms of the technology and stuff that's actually built into the brush. So be that multiple cleaning modes, be it the Bluetooth connectivity, the ability to actually track individual brush heads. I think Sonicare have upped their game in recent years. That probably would previously have gone to Oral-B. Both have lots of features, absolutely, and a lot of these features are things that you don't necessarily need, but I think in terms of the number of features, that actually goes to Sonicare now. Which is the quietest? Without a shadow of a doubt, it's Philips Sonicare. Oral-B have definitely got quieter with the new Oral-B IO, but it's still much louder than the Philips Sonicare toothbrushes. There's much more of a mechanical sound that comes from a lot of the Oral-B electric toothbrushes, where the Sonicare brushes provide more of an audible humming sound. And the way I can best describe it is if you're brushing your teeth with an Oral-B toothbrush and somebody is asleep in the room next to the bathroom, you'd want to shut the door with the Oral-B brush, but you could possibly get away with brushing your teeth with the door open with the Philips Sonicare. Which has the most accessories? Well, typically that is the Oral-B range of brushes. Of course, it does vary from one model to another, but you can often purchase accessories separately, but a lot of Oral-B brushes come with more accessories. So in addition to the charging stand, you may get more brush heads, a brush head storage compartment, a holder for your smartphone, a travel case, a pouch case. There's various different accessories that will come provided. You know, some will have a smartphone holder that clips onto the wall or sits on the countertop. There are lots of different potential accessories that can be provided with the different toothbrushes, but as a general rule, more accessories available for Oral-B electric toothbrushes. Which has the best battery life? Well, that's Sonicare again. Oral-B have upped their game and the vast majority now have 2 weeks of battery life. However, Sonicare typically claim a minimum of 2 weeks battery life and more often than not supply around 3 to 4 weeks, if not a little bit more. I generally think Sonicare underrate the performance of their batteries, and you will find that you have to recharge a Sonicare toothbrush less frequently than you do with an Oral-B. Which is the most innovative? Well, this is a closely fought race. For many years, it was actually Oral-B because they brought more smart technology to their toothbrush ahead of Philips Sonicare. However, in more recent years, that has gotten a lot better with Sonicare, and I think they've surpassed Oral-B in terms of the technology. And the technology they're implementing is potentially or arguably more useful. One of the more recent additions is brush sync technology, which will actually remind you when you need to replace your brush head, or it will select the most appropriate cleaning mode based on the brush head that you select. And I think that's slightly more useful technology than we're seeing with the likes of Oral-B at the moment. Of course, that can naturally change with new models, but for me at the moment, it's Sonicare. Which is the best quality? Well, I think for me that does go to Philips Sonicare. Now, it depends how you define quality and reliability. Often the two are linked, but I look at the quality of materials on the Sonicare brushes and they feel more premium, potentially a little bit more durable than some of the Oral-B models. That's not to say Oral-B is inferior by any means. It's a really closely fought race, but I do think that the materials and quality are a bit better on Philips Sonicare. You often then pay the premium for it, but that would be my opinion there. Which is the cheapest? Now, this does vary from model to model and from one country to another, but as a general rule, Oral-B brushes work out the more affordable. Now, while Sonicare wins in a lot more categories than Oral-B at the time of recording, this is where Oral-B actually becomes perhaps the go-to brand for many people because of the overall value for money that they actually offer. Whilst you may be able to pick up better technology in certain Sonicare brushes, most people want a really good value offering, and this is where Oral-B excel at providing really good value products. Sonicare do, but it is more common for Oral-B to be the better value option in most markets. Which is best for families? Well, I think that goes to Oral-B again. This is linked to the number of accessories that are available in the box or available to purchase separately. It also goes to the way in which the brush handles work. The cost of the replacement brush heads for Oral-B tend to be a little bit cheaper. You also get coloured rings on a lot of Oral-B brush heads, or some form of indicator icon to allow you to easily identify whose brush is whose. You don't get that with Philips Sonicare. So if you had multiple users of Sonicare brush heads in your family, it might be difficult to say whose brush head is whose because you haven't got a coloured ring or any clear identifiers to whose head is whose. So for me, Oral-B wins in terms of being best for families. In terms of best for travel, then that goes to the Philips Sonicare once again. This is based on a number of factors. Firstly, being the battery life tends to be better than Oral-B models. So the extended battery life you get with these models means you can travel for longer without needing to recharge or take your charging stand with you. You also have more models that come with a travel case that you can actually charge the toothbrush inside. So that's also quite convenient for those who do travel. And those travel cases that Sonicare offer can be powered via a USB port. When you compare that to the likes of Oral-B, they do provide travel cases that charge the toothbrush inside, but they tend to require a proprietary power adapter, which is less convenient for those on the go. Imagine you're a backpacker travelling through different countries. You don't necessarily want to take a bulky power adapter, and when you use the Sonicare toothbrush, the fact that it has a USB cable built into the case can be considerably more convenient because USB cables and USB connections are internationally accepted. And then the last key category is which is best in terms of warranty. Now, both typically come with a 2-year warranty, but more often than not, you will be able to extend your warranty with Oral-B. It does depend from one region to another, but in the UK, for example, you can extend it for an additional year, so you get 3 years in total, and you don't see that so frequently with Philips Sonicare, whereas you do with Oral-B. So that adds to the overall value that Oral-B offers, and the fact that you can get essentially a free year adds a real peace of mind for a lot of people. So in terms of the best for warranty, that is Oral-B. So I am acutely aware that I've covered a number of different topics or categories around these toothbrushes, some of which may or may not be more appropriate for you. I'm also aware that I've made some generalizations and it can be argued for either brand, and I don't want to get bogged down in the detail. What I really want to stress here is that both of these brands are really good, and for one person or another there may be slight differences and one may stand out. But for me, I could happily use both brushes on a daily basis. Just focus more on picking one brush, using it, improving your brushing routine, your technique, etc., and your oral health will thank you. Of course, if you do have any comments or questions, you can certainly leave them below, and I'll happily try and make personalised recommendations if you indeed have specific needs that you need fulfilled. But I do hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. I hope it has made your decision a little bit easier. If you want more videos like this, please do click the subscribe button here. And for more info and tips and tricks on how to improve your oral health, watch this video here.